Hola, this is Mr. Second Passport. How much does it really cost in order to fire an employee in Ecuador? There's a lot of confusion, um, particularly amongst foreigners and expats that live in Ecuador, and a lot of fear. They've heard horror stories of uh, people firing employees and the employees coming back and suing and getting a whole bunch of money and stuff like that. And I'm here to say, is it really something that you should worry about and maybe something that should prevent you from hiring someone if you have the need to down here in Ecuador? Well, we're about to cover that right now. So, first of all, you have to understand how it works down here when you hire someone. The basic minimum wage down here is about 400 bucks a month for 40-hour a week work weeks, full time. Okay, that's the basic or minimum wage down here. Now, besides that, you need to affiliate, even if they're just like a general housekeeper that had anyone that has a regular schedule, even if it's just weekends, part time. You still legally have to affiliate them. Now, some people don't, but you do run that risk of them coming back later and saying, hey, you should affiliate me all this time, blah, blah, blah. So, the institution in Ecuador is called the ES, or like the Social Security institution in Ecuador. Now, to affiliate someone, I would just pick up a local Ecuadorian accountant, contador. They have offices all over the place, and for pretty cheaply, they'll help you with these things like hiring and even firing people. Um, when you have to do it, and they'll usually charge you just a one-time fee for projects that need done, or like me, if you have a small business, then you could or even a larger business, you'll probably need an accountant that you'll have to pay monthly, and I have one that I pay 40 bucks a month to. They usually charge based on how much sales you have, and they help you declare the sales tax and all that. So anyway, back to the topic, about a huge amount of confusion I see regarding how much you have to pay exactly to an Ecuador employee, and how much you have to pay them when you fire them. Now, unfortunately, because of this COVID situation, for the first time since I've been in Ecuador, which has been now almost 7 years living full time, uh, I've had to fire a couple employees. So I know, unfortunately, now firsthand how much someone has to pay when this happens. So, um, to get right to it, first you should understand how much you really have to pay an employee in Ecuador. Not only their basic wage, if that's you agreed to pay them, but you also have to pay them two bonus payments a year, the décimo tercero and décimo cuarto, which come in August and December. And for the purposes of time, we'll just say that each one of those payments is basically equal to a month's salary. Okay, and also, once they complete 1 year, you'll have to pay them another bonus payment, which is equal to, I believe, 1 month's salary that you have to divide into 12 and pay them monthly throughout the whole year. You can pay to them in cash if you agree to that, or you can pay it to their ES Social Security account, and it starts to save up for them. So, really, you're looking at, from the second year on, you have to pay 15 salaries in a calendar year to an employee that you may have in Ecuador, if that makes sense. Um, and besides for all that, you do have to pay a Social Security payment monthly on behalf of, as the employer, on behalf of the employee, which for a basic minimum wage employee costs about 90 bucks a month, but the employee has to pay up about $30 of that, and you as the employer has to pay about 65 of that per month directly to their Social Security. It's kind of like their health care fund, right? And that provides their health care for them, and a few other things like their pension, which isn't very big, and all that. So that's kind of the whole cost of what you have to pay an employee in Ecuador. So, and then understanding that, we can talk about what happens when you fire an employee. Well, When you fire an employee, it's going to cost you more. You get, like, basically you have to pay them, it's true, a one lump sum payment. And if you don't pay them, or you don't pay them the correct amount, sure, they can sue you in the Ministry of Labor here, which is called the Ministerio de Trabajo. And then you'll have to go to court and plead your case, and they might get a judgment against you. But if you want to avoid all that, like most of us do, who don't like problems, then I suggest just getting an accountant, a local accountant here, who will help you with the firing, and they'll calculate based on the years worked and all that how much you have to pay them. It's a lump sum. They call it liquidation payment down here, and then to just kind of get rid of them. Now, it is a lot more if you have to fire someone, hint hint, than if they quit. If they quit, you usually just have to pay them the total of the unused vacation days for the year, which in Ecuador it's 14 or 15 days a year of vacation for the average full-time employee. So you're gonna have to pay them that, and they're also percentages of, depending on what time of year that they quit, you'll have to pay them, or get fired, you'll have to pay them their bonus payments for that year. Now, usually it's just that if they quit, right? They're proportionalized bonus payments for the year, as well as their vacation, unused vacation days, etc., etc. Add that up, and that's their liquidation. But if they get fired, that you have to pay them all that, plus like an extra payment based on how long they worked for you, and how much they made. So to give you a few examples of like the two unfortunate folks I had to let go, now there is a third option for business closing. It's also very low, the amount that you have to pay people. If you can prove that your business closed, you can't just close for a week or two and then reopen under a different name, because in that case, sure, they could come back and sue you, your ex-employees. So you really do have to close in order to get that. And my business may close here. I'm not sure yet, based on how the COVID situation goes, but um, hoping that it doesn't. I didn't opt for those routes because I didn't think it would be fair to them. I decided to give them the full amount on if they get fired. This first employee, now we're looking at it. It kind of breaks down. This is what the accountant gave me. It's like a rundown of all the proportionalized payments that I owe them for the year, plus the unused, plus the extra penalty payment for a firing. Anyway, as you can see here, the total amount I had to pay her, and I just did, was almost $4,000, $3,900. She worked for me for about 6 years, almost since I opened. Yeah, just about 6 years, a little bit over. Firing her, slightly over minimum wage employee, I had to pay about $4,000. So that shouldn't, I mean, yeah, it's not a small amount of money, but it shouldn't, for excellent work for 6 years full time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I mean, come on, it's really not too bad. It's not really something that should prohibit you from hiring someone in Ecuador if you have the need to do so. Okay, I'm sure other countries are not even that bad. Now, this second employee worked for me just for a little under a year. A young guy who was legally here from Venezuela. Also another great worker. He might stay on part-time. But I ended up having to pay him $1,200. Now, how does it work? 1 year to 6 years? Well, it's not always proportional in Ecuador. You just kind of give the accountant your data on each employee, and they pump it into their system, and then it pumps out numbers that they print off for you and say, hey, pay this. And as long as you pay what it says, and then they register the payments in the Ministry of Labor afterward, then really there's nothing the ex-employee can do. Sure, they could sue you, but they won't, because they know that you treated them right and you paid them what it should be, and they can verify it going to an accountant of their choice and plugging in the same numbers. and it should spit out the same thing, and there shouldn't be a problem. I haven't, thankfully, thanks to God, I haven't had a problem uh, since I've moved here in Ecuador with any employees. A few have quit. This is the first time I've had to fire a couple, and I've had excellent uh, experiences with Ecuadorian employees. Ecuadorians work really hard in general. Of course, there's some that don't, like in any country, but I would highly recommend Ecuadorian employees. If either one of these people would have quit, I would have had to pay, to give you an idea, because we did run the numbers as well, me and my accountant, about a fourth, about 25% of what I had to pay them on instead of firing them, if that makes sense. So, like for this guy who worked for me for about a year, I would have had to pay him about 350, 400 bucks if he would have quit, or if I would have closed the business and legally said I was closing the business. And same with the other lady who worked for me about 6 years. She would have had to. I mean, she would have got around $1,000 instead of close to 4,000. So that's it. That should give you an idea. I'm Mr. Second Passport. Don't forget to subscribe if you like international entrepreneurship, making and investing money abroad, getting second passports. That's what we talk about here. I'll talk to you later. Take care.